YouTube video.
Jared, Rob said the prayer last time, I said it the time before. Say it this time.
Sure.
Okay. Will you do the pledge?
Sure.
Because I'm going to be, oh, there's Mike. Let's let Mike do the pledge. Do you want, are you okay with doing the prayer, or should we get Mike to?
Oh, yeah, I said yes. That'd be fine.
I just want to make sure, but yeah.
Don't see her, no.
Okay, good.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, how about the pledge?
Yeah, be happy.
And who's over there on the other side of you?
Renee?
Is Renee supposed to come tonight, or?
I don't ever know.
It's that Nodl,
Steve logged in yet?
N-O-D-L-I,
We've got
something or
Oh,
other.
there's Steve. He just logged in.
I was given Lindon City Gas.
Oh, this is trying to get me to do something different. Huh. Well, that's,
Did you get my email about the password?
Lindon
You
City
know-
Gas?
So it's, yeah, but it's,
I can't get on.
it's got,
I need it too.
okay, so the, did you get that email with the password? It's
Renee?
like welcome to Lindon, but it's
Oh,
got some.
that's the password, yeah.
That's the password, yeah.
Okay.
The password's got.
Oh, thanks.
It's got what?
So like the Lindon is spelled L-I-N-D, 0 N instead of O-N.
10% of what I hope to do.
Did you sell that house?
The Lindon City Guest.
Yeah,
Here, go ahead and put me in.
yeah, I can just type it
What'd
in.
it go for?
Yeah.
Remember it.
Premium for it because you wanted that.
Okay.
Sharon? Is it gonna be residential, or are they gonna do something else with it?
Good seat for you.
You think?
Yes, I like that name.
Yeah.
Chair, I like that.
The guest one.
As soon as they're done there, we'll go ahead.
Right, does he, is he gonna do the, is he part of the 55 plus, is he
I was
developing?
trying to get me to
Oh, so he just wanted some
join
space.
somebody's iPhone as a
Is that white one that's, big rambler?
hotspot.
Yeah,
So, you know, he's a mast like 7.5
Not
acres.
getting on for some reason.
You'll have your shorts on.
I think that whole big lot,
Here's working.
is a nice piece for him to have, because it offers some more potential for him to do some.
yeah,
Is yours
nice things
working,
in there,
Mike?
so.
from an entry
Neither
level
one of
too,
you.
right, off the State Street, and
That's not good.
what was the status of the house, was it pretty crusty?
Clean, well kept, but
But-
very, very dated.
Very dated, yeah. I appreciate a good rambler though. Was that split level inside?
That was
or-
a split level roof.
Mhm. But I really liked the lot. I saw your name on that, I'm like, I gotta ask Jared what the,
That's fine.
In just a minute, we've got some computer login problems, so be just a minute.
Just make sure you got your microphone close to you. I say almost feel like a rock star, but otherwise they can't hear, so.
Okay.
Robin, Mike, just make sure you've got your mics close to you.
Okay.
Do you need to
Do
push
you-
the button if
Do
you
you want
speak?
us, Mike, do you want us to go ahead and start
That
while
turns
they're
it off.
getting on?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Okay. We'd like to welcome you to our Planning Commission meeting this evening. This is Planning Commission meeting for December 8th, 2020. I'd like to welcome all of you who are here with us this evening, all you residents, and appreciate you being here. We're going to begin our meeting this evening. This meeting is being recorded. We're going to begin our meeting this evening with an opening prayer by Commissioner Showers and a pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Marchbanks.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful to be gathered once again to discuss the needs of our city and to have these important items on our agenda tonight. We pray that we can be mindful of the long-term vision of our city and our beautiful community. We are grateful for this wonderful time of year. We pray that each of us may feel peace in our hearts and a feeling to give and serve others. Again, we pray for thy Spirit to be with us this evening and that the technology can work well and that we can communicate well. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Would all rise for the pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to go ahead with an audible roll call of commissioners. We do have several who are on Zoom tonight, online, or on YouTube, I guess we are tonight. Sharon Call, here. Mike Marchbanks.
Present.
Jared Showers.
Here.
Rob Callis.
Present.
Stephen Johnson.
Here.
Okay, Scott Thompson.
Here.
Okay, and Renee Tribe.
Here.
Okay. Commissioners have received the minutes from November 24th, 2020, and I've had a chance to review those. Do we have any corrections or additions to those minutes? Okay. I didn't have any changes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the voting is unanimous. Item number 3, this is a time for public comment. This would be for any items that are not already on the agenda for this evening. Is there anyone here for that purpose? Okay. Item number 4, this is Green Valley Major Subdivision Approval at approximately 600 North Main Street. Our applicant is Allen College. Our presenting staff is Anders Bake. And we'll let Anders go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. So this item, it's for a major subdivision application. It's 4 lots at approximately 600 North and Main Street. The Planning Commission will be making a recommendation for approval to the City Council because subdivision with over 3 lots is requires the City Council approval. So the subdivision part of it will be continuing Main Street south from the intersection of Main Street and 600 North. It will continue south just basically to the end of this subdivision and end in a temporary cul-de-sac. This subdivision was previously approved by the Planning Commission and City Council in December of 2013, but since then that plat was never recorded with Utah County and the approval was expired. And so the applicant is proposing a very similar lot layout and subdivision for this application. that's very similar to what was previously approved, just with a few minor changes that are being reviewed right now by city planning and engineering staff. So to go over some of the lot requirements, the subdivision is in a residential zone surrounded by other residential properties. And the minimum lot size requirements are being met. The 4 lots range in size from 20,000 square feet, which is the minimum lot size, to about 34,000 square feet. As I mentioned before, the Main Street will continue south, and so part of that master planned road will be put in place. And the right-of-way meets the development manual street cross-section requirements. That includes a 4-foot sidewalk on the west side and then a 6-foot trail on the east side, which lines up with our street master plan to have that trail on the west side of Main Street. And then Esplanade street light has also been included on the plans in front of Lot 2. So just wanted to give everyone a chance to see the plat that is currently still in the review process with city staff, but this is the plat that the Planning Commission will be recommending approval of. And you can see lots 1 through 4, and then at the bottom will be the temporary cul-de-sac. So the upper portion of Main Street, the west part of it is currently in place. This subdivision will be completing that west portion and then continuing it further south. The public improvements will not be required to be included on the east side, on the southern half of the street. So that's, hopefully that's easy enough to understand, but
You mean
yeah.
on the western half of the
So
south end?
the eastern half of the south end will not have the public improvements at this time. The western part, where lots 1 and 2 are, the front lot 1 and 2 will have the curb gutter and sidewalk. Yeah, it's just that the portion that's not developing
Yeah,
won't
okay.
have that. So that,
But it'll be full asphalt, just not full, just no curb gutter and sidewalk over there.
I believe so. Is that?
I'd have to look at the engineering plans real quick. Alan, right offhand.
I kind of think maybe that.
In order to do that
Yeah.
turnaround, you just about have to put the full width of asphalt in, wouldn't you?
To make
Yeah.
it work, yeah, I know that was something that we looked at.
Looks like you got 35 feet of asphalt on each side of,
33.
33 of each side of center line of the Main Street. I mean, that's not showing a cross-section to know for sure, but
So this one is just showing a portion of Main Street, then the
oh, I see
full cul-de-sac would be.
so you are doing a half street with a bubble in the end.
Yeah, so from what I remember, it's the development manual requires half the street plus, I believe it's 10 feet. And so half the street plus 10 feet would be 32 feet. And then that's what this is showing here, is that.
Wasn't that a requirement in 2013 as well? But we didn't address that again because it had already been made on these plans.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I recall that's how we had,
I think that's what
had done it.
the motion was in 2013.
Yeah.
That, so we didn't add it again because it was already on here.
okay.
Why wasn't this ever platted or recorded? Why'd you decide not to at that time?
We got derailed, Commissioner, on
You-
the castle.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so,
But you just you got working on other plans and just let it go then? Is that what happened? Okay.
So can I ask a question?
yeah.
So the Peters lots that are on the west, did they not have to bond or do something for the improvements on their side?
They're already in from, yeah, I believe the,
Photo on there.
yeah. Zoom in on that. So I believe the sidewalk and curb and gutter are already in on the west side,
West side.
on this north part of Main Street.
So remind me, is that just a half street
So currently, yeah, it's
there on
that
that
half
side?
street.
Okay, so you got, okay,
So this'll be-
I'm starting to remember.
So this will be finishing that half and making it a full street
Oh,
on the
okay.
north portion,
So it
and
is-
then a half street
Yeah,
on the south
on the
portion.
south end.
Now, why is the big star on the,
Just to identify that's where the subdivision is. Yeah, and
okay,
that was just,
We do that on all our staff
Yeah.
reports, so you know where it's where.
yeah, so
Just to
it's,
call out.
it's all four of these lots, but yeah, just to call it out, yep.
okay. So the upper part of that street will be fully developed with
Correct.
curb and gutter on both sides. And then the other two lots will just be the half street plus 10 feet.
Correct,
Is
yeah. Yep,
And then curb and gutter on the side that's being developed.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that's,
Well, this isn't any different than what you were planning to do originally, is it? It's the very same thing we approved before, you just got derailed. From what you're saying.
right, yeah, there are very few differences. At the time, the city council approved of had three conditions of approval of things that were missing from the plan at that time, but those things are now in this plan that the planning commission is approving or recommending approval of tonight. So those conditions of approval aren't included in this because
Yeah.
they're,
I'm just
They've been
trying to
addressed.
totally refresh my memory, but Dr. College, did you acquire some of this property from a good friend of mine, Harley Gilman?
That's my grandfather, so.
Did he own some of it, or?
Well, so he.
I'm just trying to remember why he was here,
So he-
way back when we did it.
So he bought the lot on the lot number 4.
Okay.
go back.
Okay.
Well, do you have anything to add to the discussion or anything you'd like us to consider other than what we know already?
I appreciate all you do and your work. I appreciate the template that you do for the city. And I think it's, very commendable and needed. You have excellent employees and
Right,
wonderful people. So we're ready to move ahead now.
okay. Do any of you that are online, do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
No, it looks pretty straightforward to me.
Okay. Commissioner Johnson?
No, I don't have any questions.
If there aren't any additional questions,
Peters just came, so
okay,
we just
Okay.
finished up, Jim, so that it's all done.
just finishing up, but we haven't made a motion yet, so if you have comments you'd like to make or questions you'd like to ask? Sure.
Go back to the map.
Yes.
And I know who you are, but give your name anyway.
I'm Jim Peters.
Uh-huh.
So my house is where the star is. I'm down to the left right there. That's my
Right.
Mr. Peters, you might want to speak in the microphone, just so they can, those on the Zoom meeting can hear you.
Sorry, I know the procedure, I just forget it. So that's my house, we just pointed out. A couple of things on the map that I think they need to be aware of as they develop that street. One is that the sewer only goes just barely past my house. It ties into 480 north. It does not tie into 600. I think on the map it shows that it does. That's in error. The secondary water line is in the middle of the street, right at the end of the pavement, and that's something that needs to be, make sure we know that on the map when they start developing that. There is, right in front of my house, on the north edge, is a water meter box. That is not a water meter, that is the section corner marker. Very important for surveying, and so that needs to be preserved. And a lot of people mistake that for the water line. In fact, the city engineer came out there and I corrected him on that. And then if you go further up the street to about the south edge of the Nelson property, that's also on the left there, there's just a plastic bucket in the middle, in the field there off the street, and underneath that is a steel fence post. That is a culinary water valve. It's not really.
Underneath the plastic bucket.
It's just a plastic bucket there with a metal
Amazing.
post sticking up. That
High
is
tech.
the culinary water valve. So they need to be careful with that. I wanted to ask if they're allowing public access to Wadley Farms from this Main Street. Is that ever in the plan?
I guess that's a question for you, Dr. College.
Just for Main Street, so possibly.
The only objection I'd have to that is that that Main Street is a main artery. It's 66-foot right-of-way, but 600 North is not. And so if that were to happen, then you're creating a lot of traffic on a street, on a secondary street that never was designed for that. Now I think the main access to Wadley Farms is up 400 North, which is a main artery. So that's one objection I would have to the whole thing.
Okay, tell me that one more time then.
I was asking if there's public access to Wadley Farms. I'm not asking, for a limitation on private access, but public access to Wadley Farms, because 600 North is not a main thoroughfare. It's a secondary street. And it's a 33 feet right away. It's never been designed for that. Whereas the access now to Wadley Farms is up 400, which is a 66-foot right away.
Okay,
Commissioners,
go ahead.
just think, that's something that would definitely be discussed at a, at a future time and possibly a future meeting, just want to make sure, we're focused on the 4-lot subdivision, not Wadley Farms, but just want to make sure there is a difference,
Well,
just keep
we're
that in mind, but.
We're extending Main Street into Wadley Farms, so
Well, right now, there's a fence, a wall there around the cul-de-sac, if I'm correct. So, right now, this application would not grant Wadley Farms, access.
Access off 600.
The road may need to be paved the full 66, there's things we'd have to discuss and stuff, so just, if there was a proposal to do that. So.
Okay.
If
all right.
that access were to be extended from, through this subdivision, wouldn't that have to come back before?
I'm not sure if it would, I don't have that answer for you right now.
Okay,
I would research that with, our city codes and with the city engineer, but, so.
okay. But we're not giving any kind of
Okay.
permission for that this evening.
And then the final thing I was just going to mention is that, as I understand it, when a road this wide is put in for just, these lots, that the developer should be reimbursed for a portion of that street. At least, well, because I put in half of it, at least 10 feet of it remaining, that the developer should be reimbursed for that, because it is a 66-foot right-of-way, it's not the 33 feet. And while the Planning Commission is considering that, perhaps the city could consider reimbursing me for the 10 feet that I put in back 10 years ago.
And I can speak to that if you'd like. We definitely have a reimbursement process, but I think there, with the city code says, I may be wrong on my timelines, but I believe it says within 6 months of installing those utilities, you have to file a reimbursement application, or the road, whatever public utilities you're installing. Within 6 months of installation of those, then you have to file an application with the city. So
Okay.
that probably isn't feasible since it's been 10 years if you haven't.
Well, so let's give these guys a heads up that they need to do that then, so that's a big amount. And then, is there a street light planned along that section?
They did say the very north end of lot.
Yeah, there was one, I think.
So there's one planned about right here, if you can see. Let me go to it's in front of lot 2, about in this area.
Okay. I'd just like to put my 2 cents in. I hope that doesn't ever happen. I have a second home down in Ivans. We don't have street lights on residential streets because people like to look up and see the stars. And when the city here put in the lights in the park, I have a hard time even walking down my steps now, because when you've got a flashlight shining in your face, it's pretty hard to see the ground. So for those 2 reasons, one, safety, and the other is I've lived there for 10 years. It's kind of fun to go out and look at the stars at night. We've got some great events happening right now with Jupiter and Saturn coming together on the 13th. You can see them here in the western sky. You can see Mars in the eastern sky right now. Closest it's been to Earth in 3 decades. So there's a lot of fun things to see out there, and if you put a street light up glaring at you, it kind of destroys that.
But if this property owner wanted to put the street light in, is there anything that?
So
I'm just giving you my vote on it.
Yeah, if I can speak to that real quick, our development ordinance requires a street light. We can work with Mr. College on exactly where that goes. It doesn't have to go right, where it's marked on the plans.
Okay.
But the city council, we just presented as city staff a new light standard or new light structure that is what do they call it? Nighttime compliant or dark sky compliant. And so, that would help where everything is just down, it's blocked from the top.
I'd like to see that, because Ivans, where I'm talking about, has that ordinance in place, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I've got it in my office. I've got the whole head of the lamp post, so you're welcome to come in sometime, and I'll be glad to show it to you.
Great. I'd like to do that.
But those are things that could be worked through with staff. That's not anything that we would need to have any conditions or anything on tonight.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for those comments. And as far as the water and sewer concerns, those would probably all have to be worked out with staff and all those things put in place and these concerns considered and,
That's correct. We've not approved the engineering plan yet. We did a first review. We sent that first review out this week to Mr. College, and so, we'll be working with him on the final engineering plans.
well, and that would be, I mean, that would be covered under this make corrections to engineering documents and plan, right? Okay,
Can I ask a question of staff?
sure.
This temporary turnaround, it appears to be all on your property. Is that okay with the city? I mean, does that put him in liability with things that might happen on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for it. I'm glad to ask our city attorney. I know we have them in other locations, like on the back side of the Norton property, on 570 North, they have a temporary turnaround. So I know, and I believe we have a standard in our development manual for temporary turnarounds. Is that correct? Or am I just making that up?
I think we don't, actually, but.
Okay, it sounds like I'm making that up, but yes, we can talk to our city attorney about that
Yeah.
and make sure.
Where the public will
We
be
looked
on
at
that
but
property.
I don't think there was one.
Okay.
Okay.
With that temporary turnaround, there doesn't need to be any additional conditions placed where you're consulting with the city attorney?
No, because this application still needs to go to city council, so we can have that question answered prior to going to city council.
Okay,
But if the street ever goes further, that goes back to the colleges.
okay. And as far as that access into Wadley Farms, that's not anything we need to consider tonight.
That is not, so that, they're not proposing it, and so that's something I would need to research and figure that out.
And
Okay.
I should say for the record that, that is Main Street. It is a major thoroughfare, and
Right,
Nancy's and Peters have had the enjoyment of that dead-end street because of Wadley Farms.
mm-hmm,
We've elected not to put a Main Street, but if we do, their traffic would be 24/7. And the few cars that we have at Wadley Farms are maybe 50, 60, 3 or 4 times a day, or 3 or 4 times a week. And so the traffic would be minimal, it wouldn't be 24/7, it would be shut down. And to restrict us as to not be able to access Main Street from Wadley Farms on the north is, I think, an arduous burden. I wouldn't go there. And if we need to, if I need to put in asphalt for that whole road projecting that at some time we may access Wadley Farms, then that needs to be done. But it needs to be on the record that I'm not being limited or do not wish to be limited on access to Wadley Farms from Main Street
right, right. But as far as tonight's action, we don't need to, other than having that as part of the record tonight.
Well, if we do need to asphalt all of it so that we could access it, then we would need to do that. That would need, I think, be prospectively cleared up now.
Right,
And I don't have that answer tonight. I still think it's two different issues. I'm not sure if you would need to come back to the planning commission and city council for access. That, I believe that would be probably just off the top of my head, a city engineer approval, but we can work that out. I can let everybody know.
and you may be able to have answers to some of that by the time you meet with city council also?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Are we ready for a motion on the subdivision? Go ahead, Mr. Peters.
And I said one more thing, and that is, it would really be nice if they put a sign at the end, and we've got a stop sign there, but another sign that says no outlet or dead end or something like that, because we get a tremendous amount of traffic comes down, even the way it is now, turning around in my driveway there. So that'd be really nice to have a sign out on the top of that as a day.
Well, that's probably something you could work with. Yeah. Okay. Are we ready for a motion? Do I
I'll
have
make a motion, yeah.
Okay.
I move to recommend approval of the applicant's request for preliminary approval of the Green Valley subdivision plat with the conditions listed in the application 1 through 5.
It's actually 1 through
1
7.
through 7.
Oh, there we go, 1 through 7. 2
Right.
on the next page.
I second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I think I heard both of you vote on that. Okay, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for your good work and thankless job.
And thank you to the Peters for
They're not
being here
working?
also.
Is this one working?
Yeah. I'm not sure how well these microphones are working tonight. I don't
know.
Don't think they're working up in here.
yeah. Do they sound like they're working back there?
Test, 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 test.
Does it sound back here?
Yeah.
The
Maybe they
speakers
are.
up here?
Okay.
Hear me? Okay. These masks are interesting. Okay. The next item on our agenda, this is item number 5. This is a minor subdivision approval with Mountain Tech South at approximately 2575 West, 400 North. And our applicant, are you representing?
Mark Walden.
Okay. And what is your name?
Annette Roylance.
Okay. Okay. We have to have that for the record. Okay, and our presenting staff is Mike Florence.
Great. Thank you, Commissioners. This is a two-part application. Item 5 is for a minor subdivision approval. Item 6 is for site plan approval. I'll go through the requirements for the minor subdivision. They're proposing a 2-lot subdivision. This is just south of doTERRA. It's an old racetrack property. It's almost 15 acres. The front lot, let me reduce that in size just a little bit. Lot 1 is 7.76 acres. Lot 2 is 7.329 acres. On this subdivision plat, they've provided access easements around the perimeter of the property for both buildings. They're a 30-foot wide access easement. We have the surrounding zoning is to the north, south, north, east, and west is all regional commercial. To the south is the recreational mixed-use zone. It's also a UDOT wetland bank area. And I'll get into a lot more detail in the site plan approval. It's some future time. UDOT, let me get to let's see.
May bring the vineyard connector around there.
Yeah, I was just gonna show that real quick. Let's see, where'd it go? There it is. So you can, the section here in blue shows the vineyard connector touching the back portion of that property right there. You'll see in the site plan application that Mr. Weldon has preserved property for that vineyard connector as well in there. And like I said, we'll get into more details, but the subdivision needs to be approved prior to the site plan approval. Let's see. So, like I said, staff went through the subdivision requirements. This plat is in compliance with those. There's 8 conditions that are listed in your staff report for approval of this minor subdivision. You would be the land use authority, final land use authority on this minor 2-lot subdivision. So do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Does anyone else?
No.
No.
Okay, Scott and Steve, any questions?
No, I'm good. We'll get more detail when
Okay,
Subdivision looks good.
okay. Okay, do we have a motion then? We can go ahead with a motion as far as that.
There's a
Another comment over here,
I
Sharon.
didn't notice. And your name, sir?
I'm Eric Rasband. I work for the Utah Department of Transportation. I'm
Okay.
the regional planner here in the local office. I have Eric Mason, he's our project manager
Okay.
for this area, and I also have Diane McGuire, who's our
Okay,
corridor preservation program manager. We were contacted about a month and a half ago by Mark Weldon and city staff to look for a property trade. There's a third party that we're working through
Right.
that is the property directly west of this property for a potential trade. We appreciate that the site plan is showing some preservation. The Vineyard Connector is planned to be 103 feet wide corridor just north of that wetland bank area. And so we are currently trying to negotiate with that third party for a potential trade with Mark from this subdivision, that southern lots parcel for the parcel to the west. That process is going to take some time for us to work through. We're looking at this point in the February-March timeline to complete that. If that doesn't work out, the fact that there's a detention pond on the southern portion of the parcel is just something that we'll have to deal with when we come through with the roadway project. And we would probably take advantage of that third-party property to mitigate the impact to the stormwater retention pond.
okay, as far as this subdivision approval tonight,
No concern, just we wanted to share the information that we have at this point.
you're working through that trade of parcels then?
That's right. We're trying to continue our due diligence to work to accommodate the needs for Mark. But it is a third party that we're working with. And I don't know if Diane's online. She might have some additional information. I know she had a conversation with Mark this morning. And certainly has some additional information. But we're just trying to make the planning commission aware of the issues that are going on.
Well, this has been going on for a couple of years now, hasn't it?
The Vineyard Connector was an environmental document, was completed in 2007, and we're currently actively trying to pursue funding from the legislature and from the Transportation Commission.
Has it moved up on the priority list at all to?
It's currently in the upper mid level of priorities for funding.
Okay.
I guess my question or my point was, this has been discussed for years. You think you can have it resolved by February? And
We'll see. It's a third party that we're dealing
Yeah.
with. Yep. Diane, I don't know if you have any additional information.
I can't hear you very well. I'm sure that's Eric that's talking. I can hear the people in Lindon, but I can't hear you.
Oh, go
Grab that
ahead.
microphone,
We'd-
Eric.
We'd be happy to hear your comments.
Maybe
I would
bring him up to speed with your discussion with Mark Weldon and the potential property
So
trade.
the balance of the property that Mark is buying, we're going to trade him for the church parcel to the west of him. And we're working on a 12 property trade with the church right now, and it's just in document prep, which we've been in for quite some time. So that's the only reason we haven't closed on that property to the west. As soon as we close, we will get both those properties appraised and we'll go to commission for a trade. So I talked to Scott today and we're thinking probably next spring we should be able to go forward with it. but he's promised not to build anything on that southern portion. So to wait patiently for us to finalize our documentation with the church.
Okay. So is there anything else we need to do on that tonight? Mike?
No, I'll go into a little more detail on that on the site plan approval.
Okay, okay. Other than you're making us aware
Yeah, just information at this point in time.
where things are in progress.
I
Okay.
would suggest that if the negotiation is successful and we're able to trade the properties, there is likely to be an additional site plan because that southern lot would likely be the parcel that we would trade for and would become the ownership of UDOT. But those are the details that we're trying to work through right now.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you. And do you have any additional comments?
No, I don't. Not at this time.
Okay. Are we ready for a motion on the subdivision approval?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I move to approve the applicant's request for minor subdivision approval at 2575 West, 400 North, with the conditions listed in the staff report, items 1 through 8.
Okay. I have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Okay. The voting is unanimous. And of course, this does go to city, no, you said we're the only approval on this because it's only 2 lots.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for being here. But the next item on the agenda, I'm not sure if that concerns you or not,
Yeah,
where
It
it's.
does.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Sharon,
Yes,
who seconded that motion, please?
Renee did.
Renee?
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I knew it concerned you, but I wasn't sure on the others. Okay. And this is a site plan approval for Mountain Tech South at approximately 2575 West, 400 North. Our applicant is the WICP Mountain Tech 67 LLC. And our presenting staff is Michael Florence.
Great. Thank you, Commissioners. So I have up on the screen the 2 buildings that are being proposed and the site improvements. The project will bring in 2 new buildings. The front building is 116,000 square foot office warehouse building. The south building is a 94,000 square foot building. Like the other projects that have been built in that regional commercial zone, you've got your landscaping and your meandering sidewalk along 400 North there. The site requires 25% landscaping, interior landscaping as well. Let's see. Go. Sorry, I had the wrong staff report brought up. One thing I want to discuss real quick is about parking. The applicant has submitted a request to reduce the number of parking stalls for each project. Couple reasons for that is to be more in line with industry standards for the tenants that he's bringing in. The other is that typically he like the other projects in Mountain Tech South, those are parked at 1 parking space per 500 square feet. So typically this proposed detention basin on the south where the Vineyard Connector would be located, typically for his projects, that would all be parking as well. So to try and preserve area for the Vineyard Connector, he's asking for a reduction in the parking. Let me go to the staff report on that. We had Mr. Weldon provided a parking study by Hills Engineering. I provided a table here in the staff report. So I showed you what's typically required under our ordinance. It'd be 212 stalls for the warehouse area, 29 for the office area. What Mr. Weld is proposing for Building 6, that's the north building, is 106 stalls and 29 for the office. So that's at a ratio of 601 stall per 675 square feet. For Building 2, 100. This one does not need much of a reduction. The project would typically require 167 stalls. Mr. Weldon's proposing 153, and then meeting the requirement for the office, which would be at a ratio of 1 stall per 550 square feet. The parking study showed that what they recommend, off of it's called the Institute of Transportation Engineers Manual, is typically a 1.1, this 85 percentile ratio, plus an additional 10%, which would require 236 stalls on site. And so this project would be meeting that requirement. I believe there's 300, I believe there's a, what did I put? I think there's like 338 total parking spaces for the two buildings. The ordinance, the parking code states the planning director and city engineer may also modify the required parking spaces when appropriate to avoid unreasonable, excessive parking, or conversely to require additional parking on high demand uses. Broad flexibility is given to the planning director and city engineer in determining the appropriate number of parking spaces. So with the site plan that's been provided with the the parking study, myself and the city engineering department have felt that what's being proposed for parking would be sufficient. So we're making that recommendation to you as you're giving site plan approval. See, I went through landscaping. Let me go through the building elevations real quick. These are similar to the Mountain Tech South buildings. This would be what you would see from 400 North is this building elevation. It does articulate, as you can see in the below illustration. The sides, the windows wrap on the sides as well. So what I put as a condition of approval is that when the building plans come in, that staff will make sure that they meet all the requirements of the regional commercial zone. There's some additional renderings of the buildings. So this sheet shows where the Vineyard Connector would come through, preserving that 103-foot wide area for the connector, or for the highway. So with that, does the commission have any questions?
Was this a single story or two story?
Single story.
It's like in the elevations, it talks about 2 stories. If you look at the elevation plan and then go to the right side.
Oh, how it says second floor? They probably have a mezzanine in there or something. But yeah, they're single story buildings.
Okay.
I believe they've got let's see.
Or is that the office in that corner?
Yeah, that would be the office, but it's a consistent
Okay.
height. I believe the height on those, they're 40 feet.
The walls.
Yeah.
And are they concrete or what?
They are.
They are, yeah.
Mhm. Is this tilt-up concrete or?
He's in the process of building Mountain Tech 4, and so.
Annette,
it will be similar.
grab your microphone right there.
He's in the process of building Mountain Tech 4, and it will be similar to Mountain Tech 4.
Over the entrances and the corner units, they have the canopies over the windows. That's required by the ordinance.
That looks good.
And both buildings have been pre-leased, so.
Okay,
so.
so you
What
got,
kind of business are you leasing to?
Usually, well, I can't say for these, but we have manufacturing businesses in Mountain Tech 1 and 2.
My point would be the parking, I think the parking ratio that, you're recommending is good. But down the road, if a tenant occupies it with, assembly or something like that, it could put pressure on the parking ratios and.
Yeah, so I did calculate that in the staff report. Let me, right here, I put, let's see, with the attached parking study, staff feels comfortable recommending approval of the parking reduction to the planning commission. Staff feels that there would still be ample parking even if the use of the warehouse space changed to a manufacturing or other type of tenant. In the city parking code, the manufacturing parking rate is 1 stall per 750 square feet. Because warehousing requires 1 per 500, so we felt like there was still sufficient.
Okay.
They'd still meet the parking code by bringing in a manufacturing use.
Okay.
I believe Mark told me the larger building is a distribution company.
Yes, I'm not exactly sure who the tenant is, but yes, I know that there's distribution company coming in,
Yeah.
so.
do you have any concerns on the parking? As far as that exception being made?
No, where it's mainly 90% warehouse, I think that's a reasonable parking
Okay.
ratio.
Scott or Steve, any concerns?
No, it looks, I think that parking is sufficient for that type of use, especially down where it's in that area.
Okay. And as far as the architectural treatments, we discussed that earlier today. Staff can make sure that as far as the parapets and the cornice treatment, they can make sure that that's in compliance. We don't need to add an additional condition or anything with that.
That's correct. I couldn't tell, the ordinance requires a cornice. I couldn't tell if these had a cornice or not. So that's why I added the condition of approval that they meet the regional commercial design standards.
Right, but you can make sure that's brought into compliance. And I don't know if you're aware on that as far as,
I'm not,
okay,
I'm sorry.
okay. Okay. Any other questions by commissioners? I don't have any questions. Are we ready for a motion? Okay. Someone like to make that motion? Commissioner Johnson or Commissioner Thompson? Either one of you like to make a motion?
I can make that motion.
Okay.
I move to approve the applicant's request for a site plan approval with the following conditions 1 through 5 on the staff report.
Okay. Have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the voting is unanimous. So thank you for being here, representing Mr. Weldon. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda, this is just the planning commissioner reports. And you are probably going to do this anyway, but I think it would be interesting for the commission to know how the council responded to the 700 North corridor plan.
I presented the 700 North Corridor Plan to the city council last night. We mostly spent most of our time talking about residential down there. The council wants a number of changes made to the plan to not reflect residential even further than what the planning commission did. So we're going to go back and work with a consultant on updating some of the appropriate pages in that plan.
The way I understood it, and you can correct me, but because I came down to the meeting, but the way I understood it is the biggest concern was they want any residential tied to commercial development. And so it's not that they're so opposed to residential as much as it is that they want that residential to be part of a larger scale project by a developer.
Yeah, and that's consistent with what staff has been telling developers all along. So we'll make it more clear in the report.
Yeah, it seemed like their concern was the impression it may be giving developers rather than how they the importance of how that has to be developed.
Yeah.
So, and then also I know, and I couldn't stay for that, the Island Dance property. What happened on that? What was their decision on that?
So just to give you some background, when the council, so the planning commission approved site plan approval for Island Dance Studio that they had to have all the improvements in by December 31st, 2022. Well, when the council reviewed the zone change, they put a further condition that the building improvements had to be completed by December 31st, 2020. Those have not been completed. The city has still not received an architectural set of building plans. And so they worked out a new date with the Island Dance Studio, the council did, that all the building improvements have to be completed by June 30th, 2021, or the business license will be revoked until those improvements are made.
Okay.
And then the site
Understand that?
They did.
Okay.
I'll follow up with a letter to them as well, outlining that decision.
Were they here in person?
They were on Zoom.
Okay.
And the site improvements stay at 2022?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, it sounds like they put some teeth in it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Do any of the other commissioners have things they'd like to bring up?
Any updates on like temple sites or anything like that? Nothing?
No,
Okay.
I don't have any updates. Let me just show you one more thing really quick. And you can ask questions while I pull this up if you like.
What's our next meeting? I just want to confirm.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna pull up. Oh.
January.
Hey, Kathy, where would I find the calendar at for next year?
Do you have access to the administrative?
I do on my computer, but I don't on this computer.
I'm logged in, so
Oh,
that's why.
yeah, Anders is logged in, so that's why I don't.
Oh,
Would it be on the,
it's on the staff report from the
Okay.
last city council meeting
perfect.
from last night. Or I could hurry and email it to you.
Nope, I can get it there.
Okay.
It should be under that
Agendas, yeah.
It's under the consent agenda items, Mike, right at the first of the report.
Okay. So our next meeting would be, I'll send this out to you in an email.
Yeah, please.
But here's our next meeting dates. We'll meet, in July, we'll meet on the 13th.
January? Oh,
No,
excuse me.
in
I see
July,
what
we'll
you're
meet
saying.
once in July on the 13th, and then once in August on the 24th, like we've done the last few years.
Great. And we're sticking with 6 PM then, right?
Yes, is that good with the commission still? I know some of you are in a hurry to get here, but is that,
I sure do like getting home earlier.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
oh, I think I forgot to share that, sorry.
6 will be hard for me through April, but I'll try to make it work.
Okay.
I might be late quite a bit.
Because you're doing taxes?
Yeah, I'll be at work till 6, probably.
Sorry, I didn't have this sharing on the screen for you guys on Zoom, so I apologize, but it's up there now. That January 12th meeting, that is the meeting that the developers for the Norton property are shooting towards. So, that would be our next meeting. They would be applying for a zone change and the general plan amendment. So.
Okay. Okay. Nothing else, right?
That, unless Mike has additional
No, I just,
information.
sorry, with COVID, we were unfortunately not able to have a Christmas party this year, so we wanted to make sure you guys got a gift card, and Scott and Steve, please stop by and grab yours when you can, and we sure appreciate all that you guys do, and really appreciate working with you, so.
Well, thank you very much. That's a really nice prize.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you too.
So,
So we are done until January 12th,
yes,
right?
we're done.
Okay.
One thing, that first meeting in January, that's when you guys typically try to vote on a new chair. Is that the night you guys want to do it, or do you want to push that off to another night because of that item probably coming, or what would you guys like to do?
I thought
Just so I
that was
have
a
it on the-
lifetime appointment for Sharon. That's what that is.
Why don't we postpone it until January 2022?
There you go.
I'm kidding.
I don't care.
Okay.
You're just saying, because you need to know to put it on the agenda
Yeah,
for us.
yeah.
That's why you're asking. What do you want to do, Sharon?
If we got a full agenda, we could wait another,
Wait till that following one?
yeah.
Okay. I think we waited about 3 or 4 meetings last year to do it, so. Okay, sounds good.
Thank you both. Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, and I'm glad you both had COVID now, so you can just enjoy the holidays.
That's right.
Yeah, don't,
And so has Rob, and so has Renee, and.
yeah, can we stop
So-
wearing these masks, because this is ridiculous.
I'm feeling left out.
Yeah,
I'm
you want to be a
not.
part of something, don't you?
Huh?
You want to be a part of something. Got to get it.
So are me and Jared the only ones in here that haven't got it?
I haven't had it.
I have not had it, no.
And I don't think Steve or Scott have had it, have you?
That's true.
I have not.
We're still trying to avoid it.
It's not fun, so avoid it.
You must all have A negative blood like me. They say they don't get it.
O positive is supposed to be the most resistant.
Oh, I hear it was O negative.
Well, thank thanks to all of you and Merry Christmas to
Did you make
you.
a motion to
Um,
close?
I guess we need to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
And a second.
You-
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
We're
everyone.
at about 10 after 7, so that's terrific. huh?
Hey, Sharon,
Yes, uh-huh.
make sure everyone gets a cookie. They're just sitting right there.
Oh, we did, thank you.
I think we did. Thank you, Kathy, for
You're welcome.
making that so nice for us and for the gift cards and all you do.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
Gosh, we almost had a full crew here tonight at the, in person, huh?
No YouTube comments. Okay.
Do you know what it was?